The Yu-Gi-Oh September 2023 ban list is around the corner. And in this video, I'm going to give you my predictions to what I think is going to get hit on the next up and coming ban list. Now, the pros to this is usually I get quite a few of them right. So this should give you an idea of what you should maybe sell on or buy sooner in preparation for the next ban list. The YCS season is upon us, as well as regionals, so you definitely want to make sure you're doing your preparation leading up to the new season. My name's Jake Quinsee. I have over 30 Premier tops, 60 regional wins. If you like this type of content, click that subscribe button and let's get into the video. Every single card choice you think I've got wrong here, tell me in the comments. Okay guys, here it is. We have 22 cards to unveil for what I believe is going to be hit or limited or unrestricted on the ban list. The season's over. It's going to be interesting to what we see in the new season. And here we go. So first up, we have Herald of Orange Light. Now this was previously limited. Now it's semi-limited. This card should go to free. Doesn't really make sense of being at 2. It's not really doing much. Tiered, the format is over. So put this back to free. Then we have Salamangreat Gazelle. Some of you might disagree with me here because of how good this card is. Yes, it was very strong back in 2019, made the deck super consistent. Salamangreats received a ton of support recently in the subset, so this would probably make sense at going to free, allow the deck to play more. Next up, we have Sky Striker Engage. You're going to disagree with me on this one. It's not really doing much at 2. It's going to make Sky Striker much better. Yes, there's more likelihood that from Engage, they're going to draw another Engage. We'll see if this goes to free. I'm probably smoking something here, but I mean, Konami like to open up a lot of the decks, and I do believe if Gazelle goes to free, it would make sense to Engage to go to free. Then we have Sekka's Light. This is currently at 1. It probably would make sense at going to free, open up more creativity in the format and allow more monster decks to see play again. So yeah, I would like this to go to free. Then in the semi-limited section, we have Dimension Shifter. Now, a lot of you hate this card. Most of you probably would like to see this card banned or even go to 1 at a minimum. This card is definitely one of the reasons why Kashtira has dominated a lot of the formats, because they don't get affected by their cards getting banished. In fact, it helps them. This card is very strong, and the fact that it doesn't stop until the following turn is quite disgusting. So this should at least see some sort of hit on the next list. Then we have Superpolymerization. This card is disgusting. It's spell speed 4. It can't be responded to. The fact that you can just, for a simple cost of discarding 1 card, you can get rid of 2 of your opponent's monsters, make one of the range of fusion monsters that they have now in the game, is disgusting. And you can use it in the battle phase, and it usually utilizes game very quickly. This card should not be at free. This card deserves definitely being hit and going to 2. Then we have Anti-Spell Fragrance. Now you probably think I'm crazy here. This card got printed in 04 and it's not been touched once on the list at all. Konami actually prefer this card at free, it seems, since it being in the game since 04. I did originally put this at 1, but knowing Konami, they're probably going to put it at 2 and then slowly ease it into 1. I don't think this will get banned at some point, but it's very strong when you go first. It getting hit on the list would make sense. It has won a lot of games on its own over the last few years, so it should deserve a spot on the list right now. Now going into the limited section. We have Kashtira Unicorn. Kashtira Unicorn currently is semi-limited. It would make sense as going to 1. This card literally sets up the deck. It's very, very good. For 1 card, you can end on a consistent board. So this card should go to 1 for sure. Next up, we have Bestial Magma Hut. This card is very strong at free. The fact that you can add any dragon from the deck or the graveyard, that's right, the graveyard, you can play around Drawbird as well. Magma Hut is one of the main reasons why Dragon Link has been doing very well recently. Even if you go second in Dragon Link, you can just summon this on your opponent's turn because most of the good monsters in the game are light and dark. And then you can search any dragon monster that will help you start playing in your turn. So yeah, this makes sense going to 1. Then we have Sprite Blue. I was unsure what to really hit in Sprite compared to this or Starter, but I do think Starter isn't as good as Blue because Blue sets you up for a lot more. Blue doesn't restrict you. It doesn't lock you into rank 2s and level 2s or link 2s like Starter does. So this seems to me like the best hit. Then we have Orcust Harp Horror. You probably think I'm crazy with this one. The OCG definitely have this at 1 right now. It's not seeing any play at all over there. It was very dominant in 2019. It secured my Worlds invite. I like the card. I like what the deck does. I think this going to 1 will create more variety in the format. It'll be quite nice. I don't think it'll be too oppressive with this card in the game. However, though, it will be really nice and it'll be quite fun to play with. Then we have Triple Tactics Talent. This card is very broken. The fact that more players are starting to realize that they should look at their opponent's hand rather than drawing 2 cards is really strong. And also the fact that you can just take a monster on resolution of the card and it doesn't target is disgusting. This card should definitely go to 1. And eventually it will get banned. When this card goes to 1, Frost is going to be very good, and Frost will go up in price because more players will start maining that card in the main deck. If you haven't got Frost, I recommend getting them now. Then we have Pot of Prosperity. This card, yes, it does give more consistency to the weaker decks. However, it makes the consistent decks much better. This card is very good. The fact that you can see up to 12 cards of your deck when you go second, or when you go first, you see 11 cards of your deck. It's crazy. And when the game where you have a lot of one card starters, this card just makes most decks very good. So this should see some sort of hit on the list. Well, I reckon it'll go to 1. Konami might just put it to 2 though with Pot of Desires. Then we have Runic Tip. Runic Tip is a great card to allow you to search for any runic card that you want, as well as filling up your graveyard to allow you to utilize Fountain to draw multiple cards. This card just has to go to 1. Very, very good. And it's the only one that I would, or the only runic quick play that I would put on the list. Then we have Runic Fountain. Card's very strong at 2 because you can just keep using multiple copies in a turn and recycling with Jerry. This card just has to go to 1 to eliminate that abuse, but also the fact that it will punish the player using this deck if a card gets Cosmic Cyclone. So I like Runic Fountain going to 1. And then finally, we have Skill Drain. I know a lot of you hate playing against Skill Drain. I don't think the card should get banned yet. The card being at 1 is much better than the card being at 3 in this current format. It allows more decks to play, and that's what I think Konami is trying to do in the game, is letting multiple decks be in the format at any given time. Skill Drain prevents decks from being able to play. It seems like Konami might start doing that, and then if they do start doing that, then we might see a hit on like Rivalry of the Warlords and Goes and Match. Now I'm going to get into the forbidden cards. Before I do that, I'm going to mention about the Rika deck. Now, Rika is very strong. It's a very, very good deck. It's a deck that I should have started playing since in 2022, but I didn't. Definitely a big mistake. The deck is good, and it's probably one of the best decks. And there's a reason why it keeps winning is because it's so hard to play against. That deck needs to be touched in some way. Now, I'm going to be completely honest. I'm really unsure what I would actually hit in that deck. So I didn't put it on my prediction list, but I'm pretty sure Konami is going to do something about that deck because it's just too good. Either they'll put the vanilla monster at 1 to make the deck less consistent. I don't know. So on Rika, it should definitely get hit. Don't assume that this list shouldn't include Rika cards because it definitely should. So with the first forbidden card, we should have Kashtira Arise Heart. This card is very good. Kashtira Unicorn and Arise Heart are the only cards that they should hit. Don't think Fenrir should get touched at all because it allows consistency for Vanquish Soul. Fenrir isn't as good as originally what I thought it would be good because it's quite slow. So yeah, I would leave Fenrir alone. Rise Heart is very good because you can just overlay it very easily. This card should definitely get banned. Then we have Hot Red Dragon King Calamities. If you haven't seen this card yet, then it's quite fortunate of you because this card literally stops you from playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And if you have seen this card, you probably already know this card should get banned. Synchro decks are going to be very popular. I'm pretty sure they're going to crush most YCSs and win multiple. This card should just get banned. It's very, very strong, and it's going to see a lot of play if it doesn't get hit. Then we have Gimmick Puppet Nightmare. So a lot of you do complain about this card. It's going to be very similar if King Calamity stays in the game. If they get rid of Nightmare, it'll be much better for the game. I really am against decks not being able to play. I think a deck should be allowed to make a board, and then your opponent should be either allowed to try and break through it whilst not being restricted with like not being able to special summon or play cards. So Puppet should just go. Then we have Harpy's Feather Duster. This card single-handedly won multiple games during the national, European, and world season. This card should go. I would much rather Lightning Storm be at 3 and this be at 0, because Lightning Storm, yes, it's very good at the beginning of the game, but in the later of the game, it's not going to be very good. However, Harpy's Feather Duster is going to always be good in the game. Card's too broken. Doesn't have much of a requirement. Literally just destroy all battles and trap cards your opponent controls. I would much prefer Heavy Storm in the game rather than this, because later in the game it will punish you for using Heavy Storm because it will destroy your own continuous cards. Then we have Eradicator Virus. Now, I did kind of want to put this card to 1, but if this card went to 1, Labyrinth would dominate still. This card's too broken. It needs to go. It's one of the reasons why a lot of players qualified for Worlds single-handedly. This card is disgusting. It needs to go. It's too broken. I'm sure you can agree with me on that one. Next up, we have Dimensional Barrier. You might not agree with me with this one, but as the format plays out, this card is going to be very good. Yes, it doesn't stop links, but look at the format. XYZs, synchros, and fusions are going to be dominant. It means every player is going to start siding free of these cards, and it's going to be a hard card to play around because you literally can't play around it. It's a lingering effect. The fact that this card doesn't require any cost makes it broken. Yeah, this card needs to go for sure. All right, guys, let me know what you think below. Is there anything I've got wrong here? Wait for the ban list reaction video when the ban list comes out soon. All right, guys, peace.